In a world where heroes and villains are a reality, AshishShadow stands out, a beacon to many, yet a criminal in the eyes of the law. A hero to the masses, yet a villain in the eyes of justice. AshishShadow was no ordinary entity. He was a paradox, an enigma wrapped in a riddle. His deeds were heroic, yet the law saw him as a criminal. And so the day came when he was taken to court, convicted and sentenced to death by lethal injection. But first, the unmasking. As his hands were cuffed, the officers peeled away his mask, unveiling his face to the world. The gasps of astonishment echoed through the chamber. AshishShadow was a mere youth of 23 years, his eyes fierce and determined, his face marked with the streaks of black paint. The sight of him, so young yet so resolute, sent shockwaves through the crowd. The murmurs of protest grew louder as he was led away, a smirk playing on his lips. The journey that followed was long and arduous. AshishShadow was transported 900 kilometers away to a desolate island, surrounded by nothing but the relentless sea and unforgiving rocks. His new home was a maximum security prison, heavily guarded round the clock. The prison was a fortress of titanium, save for a single window in AshishShadow's cell, where the only sound to break the eerie silence was the incessant roar of the sea. The world outside the prison walls was in turmoil. The people, his people, were angry, protesting for the freedom of their hero, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. The law had spoken, and AshishShadow was to remain imprisoned. As the prison gates closed behind him, the world held its breath, unsure of what would come next. The sea roared on, a constant reminder of the isolation and the uncertainty that lay ahead. The hero was imprisoned, the villain had won, or so it seemed. But in a world of heroes and villains, nothing is ever as straightforward as it seems. A year later, a spaceship crash lands in Madrid, and a foreboding creature emerges, demanding AshishShadow. The creature was a chilling sight, a blend of dark blue and purple, donned in a suit made of black diamond, identical to that of AshishShadow's. It was clear he was not here for a friendly chat. His language was foreign, his message unclear, but his anger palpable. In no time, he summoned an army as if out of thin air. They were merciless, ruthless, and they attacked the people with a vengeance. It was as if a nightmare had come to life, right in the heart of Madrid. The city, once bustling with life, was now a battlefield. The creature's army was unstoppable, and in just one day they had slaughtered 7% of the population. The world watched in horror, feeling helpless and hopeless. They needed a savior, someone to stand up against this alien invader, and that someone was AshishShadow. But he was not there. He was locked away, in a maximum security prison, hidden on an isolated island 900 kilometers away from land. The police, realizing their grave mistake, rushed to the prison to release AshishShadow, only to find his cell empty. He had escaped. The people were left in despair. Their hero was missing, their hope was dwindling, and their enemy was relentless. The creature, however, seemed to know exactly where AshishShadow was. He made his way to AshishShadow's cave, ready to face him. In the face of such terror, the world needed a hero, but their hero was nowhere to be found. The world was left to wonder, where was AshishShadow? Would he return to save them? Or had they lost their hero forever? But amidst all the chaos and destruction, there was still a glimmer of hope, because no matter how dark the night, the dawn always follows. And they believed their dawn was AshishShadow. Yet in the darkest hour, AshishShadow re-emerges from the shadows, ready to face the alien menace. A year after his imprisonment, and just 4 weeks shy of his planned execution, the world is in chaos. An alien spaceship crashes in Madrid, and a malevolent creature by the name of Iturkan emerges. His suit is made of the same black diamond material that AshishShadow's suit is composed of. He's on a mission, searching for AshishShadow, but not for a friendly reunion. No, Iturkan is here for the black diamonds, and he's willing to decimate the population to get them. As the alien army wreaks havoc, eliminating 7% of the population in a single day, the world cries out for a hero. The police rush to the maximum security prison, ready to release AshishShadow, only to find his cell empty. He has escaped, disappeared without a trace, but Iturkan knows exactly where to find him. The alien creature descends upon AshishShadow's cave, launching a surprise attack with a purple orb of acid. But AshishShadow is unscathed, standing tall amidst the smoke and fire. The battlefield is set, the showdown begins. Iturkan introduces himself, his voice echoing through the cave, but AshishShadow doesn't flinch, he's ready. With every ounce of bravery, AshishShadow lunges at Eturkan, his attacks relentless. But Eturkan is powerful, injuring AshishShadow badly. Yet our hero doesn't back down. He rises, marching towards the alien army with a resolve that sends shivers down their spines. One by one, he takes them down, his strength unwavering. Just when things seem bleak, a force so powerful slices through the alien army, cutting them into 9 pieces. It's the Acrobots, allies of AshishShadow, here to aid him in his battle. The tides are turning. With a powerful strike, AshishShadow ripped off Eturkan's hand, but the alien still had a deadly weapon in his possession. This is no ordinary weapon. It can end the universe. AshishShadow, without a moment's hesitation, lunges for the weapon. Eturkan tries to activate it, but it's too late. AshishShadow has it in his grasp. The battle rages on, the stakes higher than ever. AshishShadow stands against Eturkan, the fate of the universe in his hands. The odds are against him, but he's not backing down. Not now, not ever. For he is AshishShadow, the hero who emerged from the shadows to save the world. In a final, desperate move, AshishShadow seized the powerful item from Eturkan, risking everything. His fingers clamped around the object, a surge of energy pulsating through him. Eturkan, caught off guard, watched in horror as AshishShadow held the item aloft, a beacon of hope in the midst of chaos. AshishShadow knew the cost of using this item. It was a tool of destruction, capable of obliterating universes, but it was also the only chance they had to end Eturkan's reign of terror. He looked at Eturkan, his eyes reflecting the determination of a hero ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. The battlefield held its breath as AshishShadow activated the item. A blinding light engulfed the scene, and for a moment everything was still. When the light faded, Eturkan was no more. In his place, just atoms, scattered to the wind. AshishShadow had done it, he had saved them all. But the victory came at a hefty price. AshishShadow staggered, the power of the item taking a toll on him. He fell to his knees, clutching his chest. His breaths came in ragged gasps, each one more labored than the last. The Acrobots rushed to his side, their mechanical eyes flashing with worry. AshishShadow smiled, the corners of his mouth twitching with the effort. He had done his part. He had protected those he cared for. He had made the ultimate sacrifice for the greater good. His eyes met those of the Acrobots, a silent message passing between them. It was okay, he was ready. With a final shuddering breath, AshishShadow collapsed. The Acrobots caught him before he hit the ground, their metal arms cradling him gently. The hero was no more. News of AshishShadow's demise spread like wildfire. The world came to a standstill, the joy of victory overshadowed by the grief of loss. Protests turned into vigils, the people mourning their fallen hero. AshishShadow might have been a vigilante in the eyes of the law, but to the world, he was a savior. In the midst of the sorrow, there was respect. Respect for a hero who had given his all for the people he loved. Respect for a man who had chosen to face an unthinkable enemy, not for glory or honor, but for the simple act of protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. Respect for AshishShadow, the hero who had made the ultimate sacrifice. His legacy was etched into the hearts of those he had saved. Every life he had touched, every person he had protected, carried a piece of him. AshishShadow may have left the world, but his spirit lived on, a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. As AshishShadow lay lifeless on the battlefield, the world mourned the loss of a hero who had given everything, even his life, for the sake of others. A hero who would always be remembered, not as a vigilante, but as a beacon of hope, a symbol of courage and a testament to the power of sacrifice.